Hello, my name is Aaron Gibson. I will be determining the need for body-worn cameras for the Wilmington Police Department. So right now you'll see some images of pretty much the different types of body-worn cameras. Essentially, they kind of just look like a camera, but they also can look like somewhat of a smartphone in regards to it being touchscreen, which makes it accessible for most people. So here's my introduction. Pretty much this is my recommendation report for the use of body-worn cameras for the Wilmington Police Department. This report contains detailed information, research, and data that is all necessary to support the clearance and usage of body-worn cameras. The purpose of this report is to prove that the adoption and deployment of body-worn cameras will provide the Wilmington Police Department with a number of key opportunities and potential benefits that were previously unattainable. Alright, so here's my methods section. It's pretty much what I did. For task 1, I wanted to understand the mechanics of body-worn cameras. For task 2, I wanted to determine the financial pros and cons of body-worn cameras. Task 3, I wanted to understand actual police officers' point of views on how they are on body-worn cameras. And for task 4, I wanted to determine the possible downfalls of body-worn cameras. There's always a good and bad side to everything. For task number 5, I wanted to determine the benefits of body-worn cameras. And for task number 6, which is the most obvious, needed to analyze and prepare a recommendation report. So these were the steps of pretty much what I took to support my recommendation. So for the first task, I came up with the results that the cameras are tiny portable devices that can easily be mounted on sunglasses, clipped to hats or helmets, or attached to uniform collars or lapels. And basically what that means is they're easy to use. You can pretty much put them anywhere, so it's not really like you have to buy a whole new suit or attachment and then attach the camera to that. The batteries typically last for approximately last anywhere from 12.5 hours. Also, the devices are capable of recording high quality video. So essentially, the body-worn cameras are very easy to use. They're very easy to place on a uniform of a police officer. If you've ever seen an officer before, you know that they have somewhat of a utility belt. They have walkie-talkies, sometimes strapped to their hip or going all the way up to their shoulder. So the fact that it's easy to put on means that it's easy to keep and use. For task 2, the results that I came upon are the National Criminal Justice Service Reference Service, known as the NCJRS. If you don't know who they are pretty much anything that has to do with the criminal justice system you want to reference through them. They're pretty much the people who put what the criminal justice, what they do in the books, like they record everything. From uniform to how things are said, just they write everything down on how everything is supposed to be in regards to all aspects of all parts of the criminal justice system. With that being said, it helped me understand the financial side of body-worn cameras. And basically, it's very simple math. The more officers you have, the more cameras you're going to need, the more cleanings and upkeep and software you're going to need. So it's going to be more costly when you have larger departments with more police officers rather than having a smaller department with less police officers. So for task 3, I actually interviewed a friend officer of mine. His name is Officer Hamilton. He works with the Wilmington Police Department. He suggested that all officers should wear body cameras. He feels that they pretty much act as, what he said, a tattletale on different bad guys who claim that the cops are not doing their job properly. That body cam would show they are. Kind of just gives less of a headache and less paperwork. He did say that one downfall, he feels that there are a lot of officers who are just not tech savvy, especially the older ones. Doesn't mean they're stupid or anything like that. Even I struggle with some technology, and I'm 26, but hey, the world ain't changing for nobody. So he just felt like some of the officers would struggle with learning the new technology of having a body-worn camera. So that's pretty much all he really had to say on the fact while I interviewed him. For task number 4, this pretty much gave me the results that even though body-worn cameras can be worn and can be implemented with the Wilmington Police Department, unfortunately, police officers still can act poorly. In essence, even though that camera's rolling, they can still do the wrong thing. We're not perfect. They're not perfect. You know, they're going to make mistakes. A lot of people also feel that police having body cameras are an invasion to their privacy. They feel that if they're getting arrested, or if they're being spoken to, or if they're giving a witness to anything, that they shouldn't be recorded because that's up to them whether they should or not. Another downfall for task number 4 is actually the financial upkeep. Once again, like I stated previously, the world's not changing for nobody. Technology is on a rise like never before. And with the body cameras, you're going to have to get the latest ones. You're going to have to keep the software up to date. It's kind of like iPhones and Androids. You got to keep that software updated because if you know anything about cell phones, same thing with body cameras. If you don't have the proper software, then that device will not act properly. So the financial upkeep is a slight downfall in regards to having body-worn cameras. In regards to task number 5, which is pretty much the pros of why the Wilmington Police Department should have body-worn cameras, is that the footage is good for evidence. You know, it's not he say, she say. It's let's watch the video and just, pretty much watch what actually happened. With body-worn cameras, there's actually less community complaints, and that's essentially because nobody can lie. We got you on camera, we got them on camera. We just have the whole action on camera, so you can't lie and say what you think or what you want the police officers to know. And as police, we can't say what we think happened or what could have happened. It'll be all on camera. So the truth shall set you free, and that's why there's less complaints. Also, body-worn cameras promote good behavior because if you're on camera, especially on a cop's camera, you're going to act good. You don't want to get in trouble, so that's pretty self-explanatory. My recommendations when it comes to body-worn cameras for the Wilmington Police Department, I feel that first off, all police departments should have body cameras. There are definitely more pros than cons that support that statement that I just said. So that's why that's one of my recommendations. My second recommendation is that not everybody should have a camera. And if they do, it has to be issued by the police. I know some police have money. They might or get one off of eBay just for their personal use because it's a little cheaper. But unfortunately, that's not a good idea. Make sure it's issued to you by the police and use it accordingly. My third recommendation is that the Wilmington Police Department should clearly state which personnel are assigned or permitted to wear body-worn cameras and under which circumstances. Most of the time, a little fun fact, I guess you want to say, K9 units, they don't usually wear body-worn cameras. So not every single police officer should have one. There's different aspects of each department as to why they should have one or not. Obviously, if you're in narcotics or if you're deep undercover, you're a cop, you're an officer, but you should not have a body-worn camera, because if you're caught with that while you're on some type of case, not looking good. So they just need to clearly state who's going to be permitted to have them. Mostly the street cops should have them. Thank you for listening and viewing my presentation. Congrats to everybody who's made it to the end of this semester and has passed their classes. Enjoy the rest of your summer.